Well, I'm just getting ready to leave the barn, and I realized I did a video yesterday for the schoolers, and I sent notes out last night about how the horses raced, but didn't really get to talk to everybody about how they raced and what my thoughts were on how the horses were. It's one thing to see the horse race. It's another thing to hear from me or the person that drove the horse. I spoke to Brandon Bates last night, almost at midnight, about Jailhouse Master, what his take was. I talked to Mario this morning about the two horses that raced last night. One of them, I think our expectations were a little diluted going in anyway. I'll take full responsibility for hometown boys being in the grassroots. I think when the vet said that he couldn't do them till this week, we had an opportunity to race him in the grassroots. I probably should have just put my foot down and said, no, we'll race him at wherever, Kawartha, wherever, and it was my fault. I guess racing the horse in the grassroots, I wasted, obviously in hindsight, definitely, but he did catch an easy crew, but at the same time, I think going in, everybody involved with hometown boys knew that 2019's just not been his year. We're going to castrate him right away, turn him out, hope he grows and comes back. If he had a bad attitude, we'd be having a different conversation. He just seems like a big slob right now, and I think he just needs to mature. I hope so. It's a little bit concerning that he doesn't really have any of the traits of his brother cruising in style, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, and he wouldn't be the first 2-year-old that didn't excel at 2. So we'll back it up. We'll start from the start. We'll start with the lone horse in Indiana. Jailhouse Master made a dirty break leaving the gate last night. I talked to Brandon. He said he didn't know why he did it and that he didn't go much of a mile, so he's going to train him today. I suspect Jailhouse Master will be on his way home very soon. It's a frustrating part, isn't it? Now, this is some of the areas that we have to grow in. Lots of things we have to talk about in the fall. The way we stake the horses. This has been a contentious issue for a couple of years, and between the analytics of what we paid into, what we raced in, and what we did well in, I think tell a different story of how we should be staking and looking at. That's a conversation for another day. We've had help from a lot of people that run this type of stuff all the time, the sheer analytics of it. That doesn't mean we don't pay into we wouldn't pay anybody into the Breeders' Crown and the Hambletonian, but we need to take a closer look at how we do it and in what frequency we do that in. As I said, that's another conversation for maybe a webcast in a couple of weeks or a month away. We'll see. We have a lot going on and a lot to talk about moving forward. Let's get through this. Back to Jailhouse Master. In a perfect world, we have our own trainers on the ground. New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio. What we do in Ohio and Indiana. We're not there yet. We're growing as a company, and it's not easy just to transport a trainer somewhere else or just pick a name out of a hat and expect those people to be able to compete with every jurisdiction has very, very good trainers and very good drivers, and to just think we can throw some stuff against the wall and hope it sticks is irresponsible. And I thought we did a good job in picking Scott DiDomenico, third leading trainer in North America. It just didn't work out, did it? Now, even with Really Blue Chip, they struggle with her a little bit. I think I know the issue with Really Blue Chip. It isn't that I'm some superstar driver. It's more that probably the hobbles need to be adjusted in the way the drivers drive the horses. And I'll talk to Scott with that. Obviously, the biggest problem we have now is she made a breaker last start. She's heading into a race at Monticello where she should excel, and I can't be there. I got to be in PEI that day. So a real scheduling issue. These are the things that come up for me on a day-to-day basis. I don't mind the running around. I shouldn't have to run to New York. I wasn't planning on being in New York, New Jersey, Indiana this year. And these things really throw a kink into my schedule. Even buying the horse in PEI, I want to get home to PEI. I love getting home for a few days. That's all I'm going to get this year. I'm going to be home Sunday and Monday, race Monday night, get up early Tuesday, and fly to Columbus to drive in the Buckeye in Columbus, and then our good fillies the next night. I want to be in Columbus because I'm catching a lot of flack over Ailson. The course change we've made to race her on a track she doesn't excel at. We have to make some shoeing changes. Hell, I won't lie to you, we might race her barefoot next week. But if she wins the Buckeye and does well in the next one, she'll probably make the Buckeye final and the consolation for the Sire Stakes. That's a great year for Ailson. For the people out there saying, why don't we go back to Northfield and race for 40? because we're racing against horses we can't beat. There's a number of fillies that Ailsun would have to, and sure, she was second in 57. That was like a maiden, right? That was their first stake of the year. A lot of these fillies have matured a lot. Beaver's got 2 or 3 that can go. We have 2 or 3 that can go. Peter Wren has a nice filly. I forget the other guy's name. He's got 1 or 2. There's a lot of nice fillies there. We're looking for the path of least resistance. If we can find a way to get Ailsun into the Buckeye and the Consolation Final, that would be perfect. Now, obviously, the other side of that coin is she doesn't make the Buckeye Final and she doesn't make the Consolation. Before you get too tied up with the Consolation, last year West 52nd made the Consolation. It wasn't even a full field. Nobody even entered because it's a month after the Sire Stakes are closed. So people are like, I don't want to go race there. So I would be, for me, I believe worst case scenario would be somewhere in the middle. We don't make the Buckeye Final, but we do make the Consolation. This idea that she somehow can't race in Scioto is a little, it's not accurate. It's the surface in Scioto. It isn't that she's so great on a half and terrible on a bigger track. We baby raced her at Mohawk, qualified her at Mohawk. It's the surface. So we need to find a shoeing combination that she's okay with and we're okay with. That may simply be rip the shoes off her and race her barefoot at Scioto, and that's likely what could happen next week. So I want to be in Columbus next Tuesday, Ohio, Cleveland next Wednesday for globetrotting, and then back to PEI for Thursday. Try and salvage a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, some sort of a miniature vacation for myself. And then Sunday, I think I have to be at the Poconos. So I don't mind the rat race, but it shouldn't be like this, right? I shouldn't need to be places. I'm a decent driver, and I think I help our 2-year-olds out, but I'm not Tim Tetrick, not Jordan Stratton. I might not even be James McDonald. So it's frustrating for me that I'm being stretched in this manner, but I will do the best I can to help. So getting back to the horses, Jailhouse Master, again, this ties into the trainer issue. It's not that Brandon Bates isn't a good trainer, just don't think, obviously he didn't get along with Havana Unana after winning the other night, and it might be, maybe he just doesn't get along with Jailhouse Master. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a Jailhouse Master is maturing and going through a growth spurt and just made a bad break. Maybe he's tired, maybe he's burned out, maybe, it could be a lot of things. But I suspect we're going to have to find out on our own what the issue is in the coming days. He likely will be coming home. Then we bounced over to Ontario. We'll go to my drives last. Bounced to Ontario. Mario obviously has had an issue with enduring strength. He's at Angus Hall. Would he be the first Angus Hall to be bad at the gate? Absolutely not. But that gate stuff is going to have to come to an end right now. We're going to take him over and train him Friday. I don't think it's necessarily the gate. It's the switching gears at the gate. That's where the horses have the problems. None of our horses are scared of the starting gate, for the most part. Even Globetrotting, who's terrified of everything, she'll go up to the starting gate. The problem is switching gears at the gate. Sometimes you come up to the gate, your horse is in, let's say he's in 4th gear, right? Comes up to the gate, slows down back into 3rd, as the gate picks up speed, has to switch into 4th gear seamlessly, almost into 5th if there is a 5th, seamlessly to make a quality start. White Tiger struggled with that a little bit last year. Didn't show any breaks because I was very protective of him. And a number of horses, Globetrotting was very tender at the gate. But this is the growth of the horse. And I think the switching of the gears is a problem with enduring strength. We're going to look at him on Friday, train him a good mile, and get him back into qualify soon. I suspect just a few little changes, and he'll be fine. What else do we got? And then we had Hometown Boys. I talked about that. That was my fault. A bit of a stupid mistake on my part, and I apologize to those that own the horse who are on the hook for the $350 starting fee. That's my fault. So he'll be castrated now and be turned out for the remainder of 2019, and hopefully we have a good-looking and fast horse back in 2020. Then we went to Georgia and switched gears. I told everybody it was no secret where I was going with Miss Brampton Beast, right down to Chinatown, and that's where she went. I felt her a little sloppy on the front end, a little lackadaisical. I told Mario maybe we'll Baycox her a little bit, blister her stifles and knees. I want to see her revved up. I've seen her do it training. I didn't see it or feel it last night. They got this quarter in 27-1. Listen, as a driver, I'm telling you, I wasn't at any quarter in 27-1. I'm glad it looks pretty, but I don't know what was going on last night with the quarters at Georgian Downs, but I certainly didn't feel I was up to the quarter in 27-1 with Miss Brampton Beast. She did lag at the gate. I could see what Mario was talking about, how she could have trouble at Grand River Raceway from the rail on a half. You need to have that snap speed, that fast twitch muscle speed. I didn't see that last night. It took her all the way to the quarter to get there where she did. And she has that speed, so maybe we'll Baycock her a bit. It might be a bit of a stretch, but it might help. It certainly helped Canadian Titan. Whether that played a role, I suspect it did. But it might help her. Put a little blister on her stifles. She's a big filly, you know, a big, lanky, gangly filly, and it's going to take some work to get her where we expect her to be. Last night was a nice race. 30 seconds on the end of it. Yeah, she worked hard through the backstretch, through the wind a little bit. She should have snapped home and drove away. I expect more. I would say my expectations for Miss Brampton Beast were reached at about an 80% level last night. I expect a lot more from this filly, and I can't think of any reason we won't see it in the future. Next was Arctic Force. Arctic Force still a little pinchy on that left front, bruising in the foot. Left hind, his ankle's got some roughness on it. Certainly in the mile you didn't see it, but heading into the mile, I saw it in the warm-up a little bit. So we're going to continue to watch those issues and work on them diligently. The bruising in the foot, we can fix that just with common care and a little bit of, as I said, a little extra diligence on that left front sole. The left hind's going to be a little bit trickier. It's going to have to cool down on its own, so it's more management and working on that ankle, and we'll get there. Good mile last night. I think if he's not so green, I clear quick getting into the last turn, and I don't think the 3 beats me. He might have, but that's no slouch either. He's a nice horse. It was a good race for him. He fought hard right to the wire, pulled up good, went in and out of the trailer home, and from the track well, sound. So work on a few little issues. Probably Mohawk next Thursday, I would suspect, would be a good start for him if they write the class, which I assume they will. I was happy with him overall. And then we raced Sunshine Inn. Somebody sent me an email, said, you know, did she race good or was she a coward? She's always a coward. Sunshine Inn is just, it's how she is. You know, she's an underachiever on a daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly basis. Probably an hourly basis, but she's fast. She's bred well. She should fetch decent money at the sale if she ends up there, which I suspect she will. Clean legs. She can go lots. She can leave. She can finish. She gets a little rolly in the turns. We're going to put a little blister on her also. For those who think, oh, that's not very nice. Those blisters really do help. It helps tighten up the ligaments. I've never ever come in and seen a horse in tears or not eating their food, because this isn't like a blister from the 70s. Those of you who are in horse racing, and you know, a blister is a blister. This is more of a hardy scurf, if you will, and it can really help some of those horses. I suspect she's one of them. So Sunshine Inn will race next Tuesday. I'm not going to be there, obviously. Travis Henry can drive her. I told him, if you want to drive her, fine. She gets a little steppy in the turns. Just hold on to her. She's perfect. I crossed over last night. She was great last night. She should have finished the race off and won, but she didn't. I wasn't shocked. I was overall my expectations are low going in with her. So I would say she reached what I assumed she would do, maybe even a little better last night. And then White Tiger in the last, little troubling, eh? It's a problem for two reasons, and I'll explain the first one. Everybody thinks he's in Georgia and he should jog. These are distaff, B-track, preferred 2 trotters. They're no joke. Just pull up their lines. They've already made 300,000, 400,000, some of these horses, and racing 3-year-olds against aged horses is always a difficult proposition. Now, the one thing that surprises me about White Tiger, a little frustrating, he ran away with Dave Miller on the front end of the Poconos in the Meadowlands. Last week at the Meadowlands, he was a little sick afterwards, but I couldn't get him up to the gate. Then last night he had the rail, and he was really crazy in the post-parade. I'm thinking, geez, you know, this horse is going to run away. This is going to be a real problem. I went to time him into the gate, and he wouldn't go up to the gate. Whatever. I get away 6th. He had a big move down the backstretch. I let him continuously just keep coming, and he showed up a little bit flat. We scoped him after. Now, he hadn't raced in 2.5, 3 weeks. Little flat coming in. Scoped him, and he had lots of allergy mucus. It's a problem this time of year. A real problem for this horse, too. So I think we're going to treat him for his allergies, probably school him on Tuesday, and he will make the 21st stake. You know, is he coming in perfect circumstances? No, he's not. But lots of times horses are not. So we're going to race him, see if we're going to make a little shoeing change on him up front. The one thing I didn't notice until I watched the replay was that how climby his gait was. That could be an indication also of not going up to the gate to leave. Might have some sore feet on him. This is a colt last year, don't forget, had a line in his foot at the end of the year. So we're going to put a lighter shoe on him and a little bit of a razor pad on him. See how he schools like that for I'm not here, so James will school him on Tuesday, and see how he is then. And then we'll head for the Meadows for the 21st. What will be, and we'll see what shakes down with respect to what happens with White Tiger the rest of the season. If these allergies continue to plague him throughout August and September, we might shut him down for 4 or 5 weeks and have him as fresh as we can for the winter. Obviously, I think this colt can do some damage at Mohawk all winter. It's one of the horses that we probably want to keep around and help strengthen the stable name throughout the coming year or years. So a little disappointed last night, but overall, White Tiger will be just fine. So that's it. That's last night. A number of other things we talked about, we really didn't have to, but that's last night in a nutshell. You guys should see this email and also the schoolers from yesterday morning. Very, very good day yesterday. Very happy with what I saw. Overall, we're holding our own throughout the summer, having some high points in Ontario a little bit, Pennsylvania and Ohio also. I was really pleased with Havana Unana the other day. We're going to try and keep things going into the sale season. My God, the summer just rips right through. Then it's sale time. We're obviously going to be looking for partners for horses for the yearlings. We're going to be sending out some material, looking to see what people are looking for. One, do you want to do business with us in 2020? Two, what are you looking for? What would you like to see? What would you like to have? And obviously, how much money would people like to put in? If we have a rough estimate of what we have to use at the start, makes things a lot easier. So that is it. That is a video from last night, a video from yesterday morning. I'm off to Philadelphia tomorrow to race. We're racing the Colts, Willpower Fashion, Sebastian Yu. I don't know what he's going to be like. And Libero Hanover. I got a couple other drives. Stonebridge Simba's in, and then another drive for John. And then I head home tomorrow night. Friday morning, I will be at Mohawk. If you're in the area, I know a couple of our clients wanted to watch some of the training. If you're in the area, come on out. We're going to be training 5, 6 maybe, in around 58 on Friday morning at Mohawk. Talk to you guys soon. Take care.